Bellator 273 weigh-in recap show, full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Looking forward to talking about each of these matchups after we've seen the fighters on the scales. I'll have face-offs for every matchup. We'll look at the fighters. We'll see. Maybe something changes. Smash that like button, guys. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn those post notifications on. And let's jump right into it. First fight of the night. Parrish, Big Tuna, takes on Sullivan, Cauley. This is a very fun fight. Big Tuna Parrish is a guy that has a lot of hype on his side, and he's coming in here as an underdog once again, as he was against Christian Edwards, though odds a lot closer. Earlier in the week, the pick is Big Tuna. He's a hyped up guy for Bellator. They have him on the weigh-ins here with the pictures. There is Big Tuna looking like his classic self, a little loose skin, but ready for war. Sullivan, Cauley looking in very good shape. And then there is the face-off. You see the slight height edge for Cauley. He doesn't, this being Cauley, have that experience going longer in fights, fighting a guy with a higher level game. This is a huge test for the 2-0 Sullivan, Cauley. Parrish is 5-1. You can't sleep on the guy. He's got a great striking game. Southpaw. His opponent, Cauley, does have a great wrestling game and an improving striking skill set. I could see Parrish being taken down a couple times, finding his way back up to the feet, and I do expect him to find the chin. I am going Big Tuna by KO here against Sullivan, Cauley. He's a great underdog. Value for him. He is sitting at plus 150. Unfortunately, we only get inside the distance rather than the knockout prop here. But let's say you went Parrish inside distance plus 180. I will pull up best fight odds because I feel like I have to find out potentially if there's a place that we can play him by knockout. Doesn't look like that line is existing, unfortunately. Yeah, they have the same ones. Inside distance, Parrish is 180. I like him straight. Money line, underdog, plus 150. Give some love to Big Tuna, Parrish. I expect him to get it done. I think he's a solid pick. And how he looks on the scale is not necessarily impressive. That's never his thing. He's got the loose skin. He's definitely a guy that was once, bit obese. Still a savage. Come back from adversity in his MMA career, snapping his shin to then get a huge upset in his Bellator debut. I expect him to get a knockout here in his sophomore appearance. Very exciting dog. The next one, Lucas Brennan versus Lugo. Earlier in the week, the pick is Brennan. Now, both fighters looked pretty good on the scales. I will pull up the face-off here. Loaded in. There they are. Brennan on the left, Lugo on the right. Similar frames, physique doesn't really make a huge difference in this bout. Very slight height advantage towards the side of Lugo, but not all that much. I'm still going to be riding with Brennan. I think he finds a way to get it to the floor and gets his very high-level submission game going. He's a young fighter, 21, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, first-degree black belt, which is an amazing accolade. He's extremely good on the ground. He's fighting a 5-4 Lugo, who's had success, just recently faced his first loss in a while, but I don't see him being able to do his thing against Brennan. I think Brennan will attack with submissions. Yes, Lugo had a great performance against Natan Levy, but I don't think he succeeds here against Brennan. But the odds are way too widespread. We'll pull up the official odds, but you can see on the Tapology screen how wide they are. For this matchup, Brennan is about a minus 1,080 favorite, best value. Lugo plus 1,025. So huge differential. I don't know if that value is correct, though, because Lugo went distance in his most recent bout. It was against Natan Levy, and Levy is a pretty decent mixed martial artist. I mean, he's inside of the UFC, just lost to Huffa Garcia, but still UFC. For Brennan inside distance, we can get it sitting at minus 210. It's not worth the touch. Unfortunately, not the props we want for this matchup, but I still expect a Brennan win, but no value. Betting side, sit out and just enjoy this one. Nikita Mikhailov versus Blaine Shutt. Earlier in the week, the pick is Mikhailov. I do expect him to go out and win here in this spot as well. I'll quickly bring up the face-off for you guys between these two. I will say, like, similar frames and look for both guys. Honestly, similar side profiles as well. I feel like Mikhailov's going to get his game going. I think he's just better everywhere at this point than Blaine Shutt. With Mikhailov, you have a pretty slick kickboxer, and it's not that Blaine Shutt's bad on the striking. He actually is a really good southpaw, and he has speed, wrestling base. He has a lot of accolades to like. But I still feel as though when you fight against Mikhailov, it's going to be a struggle. His wrestling will be higher level. His speed will be better. He's the more explosive guy of the two, and I expect him to go out there and get it done. He's a huge favorite. He's an 8-1 pro, 23 years of age, Shutt 29 on the opposite side. The odds should be closer, too wide for sure, minus 850 to plus 760. It makes it essentially unplayable. Leaning Mikhailov win potentially by a decision here. So if you went Mikhailov decision, it's minus 110. Fight goes distance, minus 145. I guess fight goes distance might be the best play you can make on this one. But there's definitely possibility of a finish on the side of Mikhailov. I do expect him to win, but the line's untouchable in that minus 1,000 range. Next fight of the night, it's Dalton Rosta versus Duane Johnson. Earlier in the week, the pick is Rosta. He looked like an absolute monster on the scales, as he tends to. Let's pull up the face-off between these two here. All right, let's get it popped on screen. There we go. There is the face-off. Let me shrink it slightly so we get a better look. You can't tell a ton from it, but even from just this side profile, you see the physique of Rosta. He's in incredible shape. Slightly shorter, but not much. He's a prospect to like. I will say, he's probably going to win a decision, and another atrocious set of odds here. Extremely widespread. The Rock, Duane Johnson, is supposed to lose this fight. I think Dalton Rosta does win it. I think he's more adept pretty much everywhere, especially in the physical strength and wrestling department. I can see him grinding out a win. I feel like on the feet, one thing we have to note for Johnson, he is a southpaw. But we've seen him taken down before, and he's going to get taken down here. Dalton Rosta win by a unanimous decision. Looking towards the betting side, it's minus 760, plus 585. So the odds are hideous on some of these early Bellator prelims, which I'm used to. When you cover a lot of Bellator, you'll start to learn. These early prelim fights are just way too widespread, and we've seen huge favorites lose in the past of Bellator. Christian Edwards versus Ben Parrish, prime example. Rosta wins via decision is plus 160, plus 150. I'm thinking he does, but I wouldn't be shocked if he got the finish either. But as of late, what I've seen is Rosta decisions, and I feel like it's going to be another decision here against Duane Johnson, who you look 2 losses as a pro, both by decision, also noted. Next fight of the night, it is Saad Awad and Chris Gonzalez. Pretty high-level stuff in the lightweight division. Awad is a guy who has been around forever. He has fought the who's who. You've seen the losing streak. You're looking at it. Gertz, Mamuchi, Daly, draw with Nalo, and then he gets a win over Nate Andrews, which actually is not a bad win because Nate was pretty good in PFL. And yeah, before that, it was a Benson Henderson loss. I mean, he's lost to good names. You look at the losing streak, it's not like he's losing to nobodies, solid fighters, but he fights Chris Gonzalez, who's a tricky wrestler here. Earlier in the week, the pick is Gonzalez. I'm still riding the Gonzalez train. I expect him to get it done. I will pull up the face-off here. Not a big size differential, guys. Pretty much even. Younger guy, Gonzalez, you got to go with the speed edge, the wrestling edge, the improving striking game. Awad is tricky on the stand-up. He's really upright and does bring some power. And if he lands, he could hurt you. But I don't think so here. I think that we'll see Chris Gonzalez get the win by a decision, working over the OG vet, Saad Awad, in this matchup. Towards the betting side, it's not an unplayable line for good reason. With Gonzalez, you don't have a ton of, high-level fights. Minus 210. I think that's a decent line. Maybe you want to money line him down. He should win by a decision. Gonzalez wins decision is plus 130. I don't like the prop there. I'd rather money line it if you're going to play it. I expect Gonzalez to get the W in this spot. Let's keep running up the card to the featured prelim of the night. Darrion Caldwell and Enrique Barzola. This is a good test for Caldwell. He's fighting, a guy that was in the UFC, has wins in the UFC. So it's a good performance notch measurement for Darrion Caldwell. Now, earlier in the week, I said Caldwell will get it done. I don't think we have the weigh-ins from both, but I do have the face-off. So we'll pull it up here after we get Awad off the screen. You'll see size differential, at least height-wise, is favoring Caldwell. Caldwell and Barzola both are very good wrestlers. High level on the floor on both sides. I think the range advantage for Caldwell is a positive factor. I think he's a little bit better of a striker, a little more creative and explosive. I think he also packs a bit more power. I think that we're going to see Caldwell go out there and win a hard-fought decision over Barzola. Not an easy matchup. Barzola brings the UFC experience into this bout. We'll see what happens. If Barzola wins, he's skyrocketing into these Bellator bantamweight rankings because Caldwell is the former champion here in Bellator in this bantamweight division. So some good notes, good fight. I'm excited to see the matchup. Looking towards betting side on this fight. Odds right now for Barzola are minus 115, minus 114. Caldwell plus 107. I like Caldwell at any plus money. Caldwell wins decision plus 200, but he definitely has a possibility of getting a finish, like maybe inside distance plus 490. Really leaning decision, though. I like the decision prop more so at plus 200, or you can just money line dog play Caldwell. That's what I like to do. I got Caldwell for the win. He looked good on the scales. Nothing to dislike here. Should be a very fun fight in the bantamweight division. A good measuring stick for the level of Darrion Caldwell. Let's jump to the main card. And if you guys haven't yet, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn those post notifications on. Sabah Homasi versus Jaleel Willis. Very fun fight. Got the images from the face-offs here. Willis is the pick earlier in the week. There is Willis on the scale. There is Sabah looking like a savage. And then there's an intense face-off. These guys definitely got in it with each other a bit. Was intensity. Sabah Homasi has a strong striking game, an improved ground skill set, and he has higher level experience than Jaleel Willis, I guess, on paper. Former UFC fighter Sabah fighting Paul Daly. Willis, the last loss, that was against Mukmad Berkmanov, but that's a real dangerous prospect. Submission loss, it is what it is. I still think Willis is hot and on the rise. I still think he's a solid prospect at 29. He should beat Sabah Homasi, but Homasi's not an easy matchup. I like Willis' decision. Looking towards betting, though. If you're like, hey, I want to throw down on Jaleel, he's about minus 218, Sabah plus 195. Not loving the bet here. I didn't want to include Willis with the locks of the night because I do think Sabah Homasi's tricky, and Homasi has power. If Homasi lands, he hurts you. It's plus 500 Homasi by KO. I expect Jaleel to win a decision. Maybe, fight goes distance, minus 175 here. I'm thinking Jaleel goes out there, puts a high wrestling pace style game on Sabah. He's not going to be concerned takedowns coming back. If Sabah lets loose too much with the hands, I see double legs, single legs, clinch work, trips, everything favoring Jaleel Willis. So I think Sabah will be limited on his stand-up. Jaleel Willis for the win via decision here. Next fight of the night. It is Henry Corrales and Aiden Lee. Very fun fight here. Featherweights. Aiden Lee's a good prospect. Lost to Aaron Pico, but that's such a forgivable loss. That man's a savage. Funny enough, Corrales beat Aaron Pico a while back now, but still, that's a huge win to have over a real hot up-and-coming prospect and on the verge contender in Pico. Aiden Lee on the side. I mean, I picked him earlier in the week, so I'm still really strongly leaning Lee. We'll pull up the face-off, and we'll look at the guys on the scales. Both look good, look ready to go. And then looking at the face-off, this is the big difference here to me is range advantage. When you have a good rangy kickboxer who also is pretty decent off his back with his submission game versus an older Henry Corrales, I see speed edge Lee. I see striking skill set Lee. The range, as I mentioned, I see straight punches landing. I see Corrales getting hurt by Aiden Lee in this fight, and I think that Aiden Lee goes out there and gets it done. I kind of have a feeling Aiden Lee might be knocking Corrales out in the second or third round. So maybe you lean the knockout prop bet or an inside the distance. Looking at the betting side, the odds for this one are pretty close. Favoring Lee minus 120, Corrales plus 115. If you want to prop things up a bit, Lee wins inside distance is plus 300. I like that the most because he does have a submission skill set to go alongside the striking. He's a lanky guy. I expect him to get it done possibly inside distance. Also love the money line, especially if you're finding it at minus 100. I think that's great value. Aiden Lee for the W. I think he's going to beat Henry Corrales inside of the distance here, and I'm really thinking KO TKO. Corrales, man, over 35 at this point. The Johnny Cupcakes Campbell's loss still stings. I really expected him to be able to run through Campbell. I think Lee beats him here. Young guy on the verge of breaking into, the Bellator rankings with maybe this win and one more, maybe just this win here. Next fight is the co-main event. Benson Henderson and Islam Mamedov. I'm disappointed that Bellator chose to give Benson this fight. I guess it's a name-making fight for Mamedov. He has a huge opportunity to fight a legend of the sport in Benson Henderson. Earlier in the week, the pick is Mamedov. We'll look at them on the scales. There is Mamedov there. He kept the shirt on. There is Benson Henderson. I will tell you at the official weigh-ins, he looked in pretty incredible shape. There's the handshake, respect between the two as they get ready to go to war. I expect Mamedov, grinding wrestling. Benson Henderson does not have the finishing ability to keep these strong Dagestani wrestlers off you. You got to stun them. You got to hurt them. You got to make them respect your power a bit and think twice about shooting. Benson doesn't bring that. Though he has a good wrestling base in his own right, it's not enough here. I see Mamedov pressing, clinching, potentially landing takedowns, finding a way on top, beating Benson Henderson by a decision. Something to note, Henderson's recent loss, Brent Primus, the debut win for Mamedov was over Brent Primus in a fight that was very much a toss-up. Though Mamedov had top position, he didn't do much with it. He's a grinder, a true grinder, and I feel like this might not be the most entertaining bout, but Mamedov does get it done against the legendary Benson Henderson. But the betting odds are giving you no favors. Minus 398 best value, plus 350 for Henderson. Mamedov is a huge favorite. Grinding decision win is going to be my prediction. Mamedov wins by decision is sitting at minus 139, so really minus 140, depending where you're at. That's the play that I think is most likely. Fight goes distance, definitely think is a highly likely thing, is minus 200 here for this fight. So some interesting maybe bets, but there's no money line value on Mamedov. If you're going for Benson Henderson, I wish you luck, but at 38, I don't think he beats Mamedov here. And we have arrived at the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, smash the hell out of that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on. It is Ryan Darth Bader versus Valentin Moldavsky. Very fun matchmaking here. It's interim champ Moldavsky challenging Ryan Bader, the heavyweight champion, who has not fought in heavyweight since a Czech Congo bout, which was nearly 2.5 years ago. To note this, the size is about similar between these two. Weights 232 to 234. Earlier in the week, the pick is Moldavsky. We'll pull up the scales and check both guys out. There is the challenger Moldavsky. There is the champion Bader. And there is the face-off. Very similar stature. Maybe a slight bit more size towards Moldavsky, who's slightly shorter, but not much here. I feel like Moldavsky can get the finish. He's a very quick heavyweight. The biggest advantage that we saw with Ryan Bader jumping to heavyweight is his speed. He lacks that advantage here against Moldavsky. I'll be honest, I think there's a chance Bader has the durability to survive, but I'm not going to predict that. I'm thinking Moldavsky, KO, TKO, rounds 3 or 4. I think he finishes Bader. Watch out for the high kicks. His teammate Vadim Nemkov was able to beat him. Of course, they're going to take blueprints from that bad loss in Bader's last one. If you look, it was to Corey Anderson, first round. Was it 45 seconds? It was very early. I have to find this out. 51 seconds. That was a quick stoppage. He got caught, he got hurt, he got put down. I think Moldavsky stops him here. Becomes the heavyweight champion at 29. So much potential for this kid. 11-1 record. Keep doing his thing. He's a very small heavyweight at just 234 pounds and only being 6'1". But size isn't a problem here in this matchup because Ryan Bader is a small heavyweight too. It just takes away Bader's advantage. Moldavsky does it better. He gets the finish, beats Ryan Bader and new heavyweight champion of Bellator. Looking at the betting side, not bad value. Minus 200 for Moldavsky, plus 220 for Bader. I love a Moldavsky money line, minus 200 play. Also, if you're looking towards betting some things, maybe you like Moldavsky inside distance, plus 160, or Moldavsky KO, TKO is upwards of plus 210. I like that value. I do think he gets the finish. Maybe you want to really go for it and just round bet it. I'm thinking Moldavsky 3 plus 1,000. Moldavsky 4 is sitting at plus 1,600. And if you're really feeling wild, you go Moldavsky 2 plus 625 if you wanted to triple it up. I do expect those to be the rounds he most likely gets the finish in. I feel like if Bader survives past 4, then we're probably going the full distance here. Very fun fight in the Bellator heavyweight division. Overall, pretty fun card. Bellator bouncing back in 2022 with some good action. I will be live for it, so make sure to tune into that fight companion. Before I send you off, we will look at the parlays. Of course, we have to. To finish it out, what is the parlay? Well, I need Moldavsky on my line. I think that's a must. I also like Willis, and I like Aiden Lee. That's plus 272. I think there's some decent value there. If you want to add in a little more juice to the sails, you really want to take maybe even slight risk potentially, Ben Parrish plus 812 if you're really going for it. You could also take Willis off if you don't like it, plus 540. If you're like, listen, I don't think Lee wins, take him out. Moldavsky, Parrish still plus 260, and Parrish starts the night off. So if something went wrong there, you can cover the bet and make it up with a different parlay potentially. If you want to play the Wolf Darrion Caldwell plus 623, I mean, of course, we can go nuts here. This is Hail Mary, not suggesting anybody play this one unless it's for a slight amount of cash, plus 1,724 for Moldavsky, Parrish, Caldwell, Lee, and Willis. That's a true Hail Mary I'll throw at you guys. Overall, it's a good card. I am very excited to watch this Bellator action go down. Could be a good one to start off the year. Bellator 273. Make sure to tune in to the Fight Companion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the predictions. New to the channel, subscribe and turn those post notifications on. Make sure to smash the like button as well. Much love, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.